Good morning. Nice to talk to you again. I have another story for you, and this time it is from New Zealand, from the Maori people of New Zealand, who are the native New Zealanders. Now, this story is called Maui and His Granny's Magic Jawbone. Maui was in a very bad mood. So bad a mood that his friends avoided him, and the village dogs slunk past him with their tails between their legs. They expected him to turn on them and give them a savage kick. If he did that, it would send them yelping into the bushes that surrounded the village. Angrily, Maui paced up and down in front of his mother's house. Irritably, he whacked his thigh with his beautiful green stone club, which was polished very, very finely, and its edge was so thin that you could see through it. Now, the word for that is translucent. It was a very deadly weapon, and it was fit for the greatest of warriors, but Maui took no pride in it whatsoever. He felt like throwing it away like a discarded toy. What had caused his bad mood, nobody in the village knew. But his mother, who was the wisest woman in the village and the wife of the chief, had her suspicions as to what was wrong with her son. But she just sighed and said nothing, and she went on with her work of weaving her beautiful baskets. As he walked up and down in front of his mother's house, Maui decided that on top of all the magic spells that he could do, that what he needed most of all was a magic weapon, one so full of magic that he could keep at bay all the evil spirits and demons that lurked in the bush and the forest and the fishing places, and they made the hunter's life very, very difficult indeed. Whilst he was pacing up and down and muttering angrily to himself under his breath, he noticed two women. They were his mother's servants, leaving the village by a path that very few people used. They were carrying baskets full of food that let off steam in the cool morning air. Maui thought no more about it until later on that day he saw the two women coming back without the baskets. The next day the same thing happened, again, and the next, and the next, and each time the women left with new baskets, brand spanking new baskets, full of hot steaming food, and they came back empty-handed. Maui was curious to know what had happened to the food, so he went up to the women and asked, "Who are you taking the food to each morning? I never see you bring back an empty basket. Why?" The two servant girls looked at each other, and they said nothing. "Answer me! Don't stand there looking at each other. Answer me! I demand an answer." "Oh, Lord Maui, we are but your mother's servants, and we do what she tells us to do. If you want to know about the food, you'll have to ask your mother," said the eldest servant girl. "We're only acting under orders," said the second girl. Maui dismissed the girls with a contemptuous wave of his club, and they scuttled away to get on with their tasks for the day. Next, Maui went looking for his mother, Turanga, and he found her working with her serving women, making baskets. As soon as the girls saw Maui coming towards where they were working, they all got to their feet and they hurried away like a flock of turtle doves, leaving Maui with his mother. "I have been expecting you, my son," said Turanga quietly. "Come and sit beside me and tell me what is troubling you, my dear." Maui sat down on the mat next to his mother. "Mother, I have to know why your servant girls take food down the little used path every morning." Maui's mother paused and thought a bit, and then she said, "Son, it's time for you to know my secret. The girls take the food to Mura Angawina." "Who on earth is she?" asked Maui. "She's your blind grandmother. As long as she's fed, she's contented and does not cause us any trouble. But if we forget to feed her, she will go crazy with hunger. The servant girls you spoke to have a sacred duty to keep her fed. If they forget to feed her just once, then they will have to pay with their own lives. They will be thrown to the old woman, and she will eat them whilst they are still alive." Maui shuddered. "Where is the old woman?" "If you follow that path over there, the one my servants took, you will find her," replied his mother. "Mother, how will I recognize her?" "You will know who she is by her jawbone." His mother paused, weighing her words very carefully. "Maui, her jawbone is the weapon you are looking for. It has great magical powers. With that in your mind, my dearly loved son, nothing will stand in your way." His mother's words, "nothing will stand in your way," stuck fast in Maui's brain, and he determined to get the jawbone from his granny at all costs. Next morning, bright and early, before the sun was up, he was waiting by the path where his grandmother lived. Very soon along came the two servant girls, and Maui took their baskets from them. "Give me the food," he said. "I will take it to where it has to go. And in the future I will take it. All you have to do is to prepare it." The girls scurried away. They were very happy not to have to make the scary trip ever again. Maui took the baskets and went on down the overgrown path until he came to the old woman's hut. He saw she was sitting by the door on a pile of human bones. Her blind eyes were closed, and her huge jaw lifted as she sniffed the air. Her huge head turned in Maui's direction, but he had taken great care to be downwind of her so she could not smell him out. Quietly and carefully, Maui put the food some distance away from her. Then he went back to the village. The next day when he took the food, he again put the food beyond her reach. He did the same the next day. By the time the third day came, the old woman knew that someone was playing tricks on her. So she lay in wait for the trickster. She determined to sniff him out and eat whoever it was, male or female. Eagerly she sniffed the air like a dog, and she began to make her stomach grow bigger and bigger and bigger, ready to swallow up whoever it was that was playing tricks on her with her food. First she sniffed to the north. There was nothing there. Then she sniffed to the south. Nothing there. And with quivering nostrils she turned to the east. But there was nothing there. Then she turned to the west and she sniffed hard. She could smell a human being. She sniffed hard again just to make sure. Then she called out in a loud voice, "You! You over there! Have you come from the direction of the wind that blows on my skin?" Maui coughed. The old lady knew then that whoever it was who was playing tricks with her food was a relative of hers, and being a relative, she could not eat him. So she allowed her stomach to go back to being small again. If Maui had not come from the west, she would have known that he was not a relative and would have swallowed him whole at once. "Are you my grandson, Maui?" asked the old lady. "Yes, I am," Maui admitted. "Then why did you play childish tricks on me, Maui? That was not kind of you to tease an old lady so." "I've come from your jawbone, Granny," he said in reply. "I must have it." "You're welcome to it," replied his grandmother. "I've been keeping it safe for you, Maui. But before you pull it out from my mouth, let me warn you about something. Do not, under any circumstance, wash it clean in the river. If you do, the fish will gather around for the morsels of flesh you scrape off. You need to wash it on dry land, far away from any stream." Maui promised that he would follow her instructions, and then he went up to her and took hold of her lower jaw and wrenched it free from her mouth. Then he filled his calabash with water and took both it and the jawbone to a safe place up the hill, far from any flowing water, and there he washed the jawbone and scraped off the bits of Granny's flesh that clung to it, and very soon it was glowing white in the morning sun. Maui was very happy with his new weapon, and he gripped it firmly and swung it about his head several times. And as he twirled it round his head, it seemed to sing as it cut through the air, and the song it sang would soon strike fear into the hearts of Maui's enemies. But as he stood there playing with this weapon, the water he had used to clean it started to trickle in a downwards direction towards the river, carrying the blood from Granny's jawbone to the river, where the river fish gathered and they fed on it. And as they fed on Granny's blood, their scales turned a beautiful red colour, and to this day the Maori people call these fish kokopu. Yeah, I think I've said that right. Kokopu. And they are very, very beautiful fish indeed. Now the Maoris always seem to tell a little story to explain things that happen in nature. And I'm hoping to tell you some more Maori stories very soon. Watch out for them. Bye bye.